So welcome to this training where we're going to look at how to recover from stress. So stress is not something that's ever going to disappear. It is going to be a constant in your life, especially if you're choosing to grow, to develop, to get promoted, to move up in your career or grow your business or whatever that looks like. Stress will not go. Just to ground this conversation in that. It won't disappear. So what that means and what it necessitates for us is to learn how to recover from stress so we can handle the stress we experience or more stress. And there's ways that we're going to talk about that. But first, I guess to understand a little bit more about stress, typically stress is increasing from the left to the right here. Performance or your ability to perform in any area of your life is going to be bottom to top. When you increase stress, so from left to right in this graph, if you had no stress, you would be bored, you would not feel good, you would feel like an apathy or a not caring about life. And so there's, everybody talks about too much stress is bad, but so is too little. And that's not what you want, right? You want to be tested a little bit. You want to be focused. You want to be clear. So actually adding some stress will improve your performance. This is why procrastination, there's no deadline. So there's no pressure to act. So hence we procrastinate, just as an example. So that's adding stress, deadline, so that you take action, right? So no stress is not good. For your performance. Some stress is really good for your performance. You will actually get to what's called peak performance if you add the right amount of stress. The way to do that is pay attention to what you're feeling. Are you more motivated? Are you more focused? Or like on the right-hand side here, are you fatigued? Are you exhausted? And again, this is when we build up too much stress for too long on the right-hand side here. So what we want to do is not necessarily only stay on the left. We want to be able to catch when we're on the right and push our recovery back so that we can handle the optimum amount of stress for us. So that's what we're going to talk about, is how to recover from too much stress. So when this gets played too much, when you have stress for too long, how to recover. And the other part about this is stress building up over time is really helpful. When it builds up too much, we burn out. But we don't want to wait to that point to recover. We want to build recovery in consistently into our days, our weeks, our months, so that it's a practice and somewhere that we live, not somewhere we visit whenever we need to. It's when it's proactive rather than reactive. We don't have to, we get to do recovery. And that's really important. It's a simple distinction, but it's powerful for this kind of topic as well. So let's go the opposite way, how to create burnout in your body. And these are a couple of examples. And burnout is typically mental and it's physical. So that's why some of the solutions that I'm going to talk about are mental and physical. And I would also say anything I talk about here, this is just suggestions. These are things that I've come up with, but please come up with your own. This is important as well, that you feel that this is for you, not, oh, I need to follow Philip's model of recovery. No, you don't. Just follow anything that works for you in your recovery. So here's some things that create burnout. When you feel like you don't have control, so when you're focused on what's out of your control, that will create burnout, because what happens is you lose what's called agency, or the feeling of being the chooser in your life. So when you focus on what's out of your control, you absolutely will burn out from that. Lots of studies around well-being will say if you increase somebody's agency, well, then you increase their well-being. So the opposite is also true. If you remove people's agency or remove their ability to control what's in their life, you will decrease their well-being, you will decrease their recovery, decrease their sense of control. So if you focus only on that, well, then of course you're not going to feel as good and you're going to get stressed. When you let lots of tasks build up and you haven't taken action, that will also burn you out. If you work consistently every day, like an Olympian, and you expect, like at the bottom, do everything at 100% effort, again, a recipe for burnout. No time off. It's like a pressure cooker building up and not having the valve to allow kind of air to come out. Excuse me. You will burn out. Overtraining. So this can be often what happens is people get stressed in work and then overstress their bodies as well. So it's overtraining on both sides. Movement is not bad. exerting yourself too high after experiencing too much stress, it's the same to your body. It's just stress. Your body can't distinguish, oh, this is exercise and this is work. Mentally, you can, but physically, your body just experiences a buildup of cortisol. Movement will allow some of that to shake out and to release. But again, you want to make sure that you're getting the balance of not overexerting on the exercise, but actually moving your body. Maybe it's lighter movement, lighter exercise. That will absolutely help. But too much exertion after too much work will not. It will burn you out. Please don't do it. For example, so I track my heart rate variability on an Aura ring, and that shows me when I'm recovered and can work out at a high intensity and when I need to actually just maybe do mobility, like walking in nature or stuff like that. And it was actually, so I only learned this recently. So heart rate variability was a measure used by powerlifters on the days when they would go for a personal record or a personal best. So they knew when heart rate variability was not in a good place, so recovery was not good, they would not be able to perform to their optimal. So again, kind of tuning into what your body needs. Does it need rest or movement? Does it need light movement or tough movement? What can it handle? Your body will tell you, you're just not listening. So please listen to your body a little bit more. If you dwell on things that happened in the past that are bad, or you're judging as bad, or that you did, or things that happened to you, this will also weigh on your mind, and that will burn you out over time too. Again, we said earlier on about like letting lots of tasks build up. When that happens and you don't act, that will burn you out. The overwhelm that comes from that adds stress to your system and to your mind and to your body. And that's not good. It doesn't feel good in your body. It's a stress and it'll build up. If you do work for long enough that is misaligned with your values, so work that doesn't mean anything to you, doesn't feel like you're contributing to something greater than yourself. And again, this is a lesson for anybody watching this that's a leader of other people. Giving people control, but also giving them autonomy, but also giving them purpose makes a big difference to how they feel and the stress that's within their system. You can remove a lot of stress. And like we talk about, you're not overworked, you're under recovered. People are typically overworked, but when it's aligned to a purpose, we just unleash this energy that has a massive impact on our performance. So when you can tune it into somebody's personal values, it makes a massive difference. But if you want to burn out, do work that doesn't align with your values. If you ignore what your body is telling you, doesn't need rest, doesn't need water, doesn't need food, I don't need to go to the toilet, I'll do back-to-back calls all day. They're examples of ignoring your body. I'm tired, I'll just drink more coffee. There's a time and a place for coffee, and there's a time and a place for rest. Please listen a little bit more to what your body needs and give it what it needs. We lose sight of the simplicity of some of these things. Literally, it's just pay attention to your body. And then again, another thing that's going to cause you to burn out is if you do everything at 100% effort, you will burn out. A number I've heard is aim for 70 or 80% when you're training or when you're working. And that's going to mean you can do it for longer. And then you won't add as much stress to your system short term, and you'll be able to kind of do the marathon, not the sprint. It makes a massive difference. I talked a little bit about heart rate variability and how it corresponds to recovery, whether you are recovered or whether you're not. But here's just a visual of this as well. So happy, you can see the heart rate signal or the kind of wave is really smooth. So literally your heart signal, depending on the mood or state that your physiology is in, is much more either smooth, or if you look at the bottom example, when you're stressed, it's more chaotic. So if your heart is doing this chaotic signal, what range of feelings do you think you're going to experience? And how do you think that's going to affect your thinking? It will absolutely affect your thinking. If you're a leader again, and you want to think strategically and you want to think long term, if your body is in a stressed state, it will not be able to think long term, because in a stressed state, it will prioritize survival, which is short term, narrow, next thing, negative. Everything is a threat. Let me just sort out these threats around me immediately. This is really powerful stuff. So when you allow your body to recover, it can go to rest and digest, parasympathetic, And it can actually think longer term, more strategic, more altruistically. So more about other people rather than survival. Let me protect myself and do what I need to do for me. Short term, everything's a threat. So it's more negative. Parasympathetic's more positive, more able to think about the future long term. So again, that's just to show you literally what's going on in your heart when you're in a happy state, let's say good mood, versus a stressed state. And allowing your body to not recover will keep you in a stressed state. Your body, your feelings, your emotions, and your thoughts will not be as good or clear or coherent is the word. So then how can we expect to perform at our best and get the results that we want? Again, so paying attention to this physiology is really important. Left to right is adding cortisol to your system. Bottom to top is increasing your heart rate. Something that increases my heart rate is drinking too much coffee. Increases my anxiety when I'm stressed. So when I've cortisol in my system. So when you look at increasing cortisol over here, increasing heart rate over here, you will feel more anxious. So negative future predictions. So you're going to be thinking about negative things. All of biases will play out a lot more in that state too. You will go to all or nothing because that's what your brain wants, simple choices to prioritize survival. You'll feel more frustrated, more quick to those things. In anything that happens to you, you'll respond more frustrated because that's going to be quicker. It's going to get you an answer quicker. You don't have time for talking about stuff or worrying about people's feelings. You'll react more quickly. When you lower your heart rate, so let's say you haven't had enough coffee, but you're not like excited enough in your body, you will feel more boredom. So this again is when there wasn't enough stress in your system. You'll feel more boredom and apathy and detachment. So again, consider adding stress to people's system and not allowing them to feel like they're moving towards a greater purpose or that it's misaligned with their values. They will feel detached from the company. This is contributing to people leaving. Sounds really simple, but this is really powerful. Literally, physiologically, this is what's going on for people. They're detached, they're bored, they don't want to be part of a company that does that to them. The way to go from right to left, because elevated heart rate is not a bad thing. You will feel more passionate, determined, more focused, because again, some amount of that is going to help your focus. Too much, though, is actually going to not help your focus, right? The way to go from right to left is breathing. Typically, it's what's called a coherent pattern of breathing. 4 in, 4 out, 5 in, 5 out. Same rhythm in, same rhythm out. Doesn't matter the number. Literally, that rhythm of breathing will balance your nervous system between survival, between parasympathetic or rest and digest. So inhale is sympathetic, exhale is parasympathetic. When you match those, your body is able to ground. You're actually giving your body what it needs. If you want to calm more, so let's say you have a high pressure, stressful situation, you extend your exhale so that it plays more to the parasympathetic nervous system. It allows you to ground more. And that's going to make a big difference in how you perform under pressure. So I have a video recorded on that. If you want the clip, it's like no issue. I'll send it to you. This is what I talk about, though. It's regulating your physiology, moving from survival, which is going to be in stressful situations where you need to perform under pressure, to parasympathetic. So again, this goes on in your body when you're also stressed and not recovered as well. I mentioned that your vision will change. Left is survival, right is parasympathetic. This is your sympathetic nervous system firing. The vision narrows to immediate. What could be a threat? Let me narrow my focus to the here and now. I'm not able to think about anything else. I must prioritize survival. When you move to parasympathetic on the right-hand side, your vision literally expands. Your pupils change and you can see more of the bigger picture. So you can think more strategically. You can think more about people, other things, wider than your bias, right? So again, this is so powerful. So simple, but it's so powerful. Again, the way to go from left to right is your breathing pattern and giving your body what it needs and rest. So here's a couple of ideas. When our mind is too stressed and full, we need to allow it to decompress, but we also need to allow it to let go of some of what it's holding. So some inputs that it can be holding is phones, alerts, the dopamine hits that we get from alerts and notifications and likes and messages, whatever, responding to emails, all that kind of stuff. When you limit your phone, even to within certain hours, that will allow your mind then to partition or bookend when you're on and when you're off. And that allows it to decompress within those time when it's time for recovery. If you spend too much time with people that drain your energy, you will stress your mind, because it's like, I could be doing something else. I don't want to be here. It's taking so much energy. I wonder what else I can do with this time or whatever. So instead, this is going to drain your energy, add mental stress. So think about limiting that time and spend more time with the people that make you feel good. So again, these are just ideas to help you recover mentally. Meditation's a really good one. That's not for me. What I do is I walk in nature, because it's roughly the same. It's allowing your mind to settle. It's allowing you to take in the bigger picture here, where your gaze is not focused on one thing in particular, like the camera, like the screen. It's allowed to kind of focus a little bit wider. And even just for your eyes, it's really healthy to be in nature more often, looking into the distance. Meditation is something that a lot of people get benefit from. Non-sleep deep rest would be an example that I would recommend. There's different ways of doing it. The Calm app, Take 5 with Andy. I can't remember what that app is called. There's ways to do that. Journaling is a really good one as well. And people have a love-hate relationship with journaling because they see a blank page and get overwhelmed. Just start writing anything. Don't judge it. Journaling is never perfect, so don't wait for perfect before you journal. Just get it out of your head, and it allows your mind to get this out of your head and settle. And it's going like almost to inbox zero, you could say. One of my acquaintances that does unbelievable research on burnout in leaders, he did some research recently globally with a number of leaders, like thousands of them. And one of the things that helped them recover mentally from work is having something outside of work that engages them. For one leader, it was Argentinian tango. For somebody else, it was painting, dog training, hiking in the mountains, anything outside of work that engages you fully. Learning is an example of that. Some kind of learning that you enjoy, that gives you energy, is going to help your recovery. This is a big one. Setting boundaries, when you work, when you don't, what you say yes to, what you say absolutely no to, is really healthy. Often we resist and resent people and things when they've overplayed and come within our boundary. We haven't communicated it. So set boundaries, notice the tension, set a boundary, communicate it, will make a massive difference to protecting your well-being and your recovery. Please do that. It's so simple, but it's so important. And it's not simple. It's really important. Another thing that helps your recovery mentally is talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that you enjoy spending time with. Again, these people that give you energy and make you feel good. Talk to them. Have a conversation. Get this stuff again out of your head. It's not to dump on them. That's different. Maybe if that's the case, talk to a therapist, get a counselor. I have a coach, I have a counselor, and I have a mentor as a coach. So it's really healthy to be able to have these conversations that are appropriate with other people that you enjoy spending time with. It will help you not hold as much mentally, and it's really simple, but really powerful. If you remind yourself what's important, often what happens is life, it feels like chaos and we don't know our place in it. It feels like what a client said to me recently, like a drowning hole. I don't want that for you. So remind yourself what's important to you, what you value, what you don't, and act towards what you value. Remove what you don't value from your life as much as you can. And then say no more often. This links to boundaries. It links to reminding yourself what's important, but say no a little bit more often. When your body says, I need to rest, I can't go out on Friday night, well, then listen to your body, say no. And your body actually gets this kind of like trust. You look after me, I'll honor you. And it's so simple, but it's so powerful. Here's some body things, so physiological things that you can do. Sleep, underrated. Sleep is just a superpower. If you want kind of tips on how to maximize that, let me know. I have a resource already built on this. But if you get good quality sleep, again, you're not overworked, you're under recovered. If you get good quality sleep, it makes a massive difference. You can nap in the afternoon, not too late in the day, or it affects your nighttime sleep. And the other thing that could fit here, I don't have it here, is a non-sleep deep rest. If you're napping during the day, it takes roughly 26 minutes and it's scientifically proven to recover your body. I tracked it one day and my Aura ring said my recovery had boosted by, I think it's 5 or 10%. So it's simple. will absolutely help your recovery, but build some of that sleep focus into your life. It's a really useful bookend. There's other tips about that if you want. Exercise, lower intensity if needed. So not 100%, let me go all out here, but actually lower intensity, just a walk. We underrate walking. Walking is so powerful. It's unbelievably simple. We're built for walking. So exercise a little bit more. Less sugar. Sugar will make you antsy and more anxious. So lower your sugar. Do cold water exposure. Typically when you're in survival and that kind of negative cortisol stressed state, your body will be inflamed. There'll be inflammation in your system. If that builds up long enough, you're going to get autoimmune disease and not good stuff. Cold water exposure will lower that inflammation. There's other things like turmeric and stuff, but do a little bit of cold water exposure, 15 seconds at the end of your shower. Do cold water dips if you want, go to ice baths, whatever you want. Increase, just build that in a little bit more to your life. It'll lower inflammation, lower that stress buildup in your system. I talked about breathing earlier on. There's different breathing patterns, but it makes a massive difference. Again, we underrate breathing and some of these really basic things, but it makes a massive difference. Do an energy audit. So energy is this energy and motion, which is emotion. So what you feel and what gives you energy, good energy or bad energy. We don't often pay attention to it in our bodies, but we absolutely know when we're not experiencing good energy or don't have high energy. So do an audit. What gives you energy? What takes it away? Do more of what gives you energy. Do less of what takes it away. I have, again, a resource on this if it's helpful, but literally that's the thing. Do more of what gives you more energy. Do less of what takes away your energy. You will increase your energy. Like, it sounds too simple to be impactful, but again, please do it. Typically, we're dehydrated, which will increase survival. So increase your water intake. They say 2 liters a day, as much water as you can. Don't do 50,000 liters a day, but do more. Do more than you are. You're probably not drinking enough water. And then last, it's really just to build a plan. So when I'm noticing that I'm burning out or experiencing burnout, then I do. And here's my thing. I do one thing for my mind, one thing for my body. If you have that built, you don't need to think about it. It doesn't need to be this thing I need to remind myself of. It's just when I notice, then I do. When I do, then I feel. Right? So you just build this routine into your life when you notice these things, and it'll make a massive difference. But don't just build them in reactively. When I experience these, then I must do it. Build these in during the week so that you allow some of that pressure cooker valve to be opened more often so that it doesn't build up to the same extent. So that this is proactive more frequently, not reactively, when you're going to be not in a good place. I've seen it at that point. I do not want that for you. Please prioritize recovery. You'll be able to grow and handle a lot more. I got a little bit passionate there. I really care deeply about this, and I care deeply about you. I hope this was useful. I hope it was interesting. Thanks for watching. Any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to help. And thanks for watching this training. This is Vitamin P Coaching. Philip Brady.